In the world of tech, we're constantly making choices. But what's the most important skill? It's not just picking the right tool, it's about convincing everyone else that it's the right tool. Today, we're going to sharpen your language so you can make technical comparisons that are clear, professional, and honestly, just win arguments.
You've heard this a million times, right? Someone says, oh, Django is more powerful, but Flask is simpler. I mean, what do powerful and simpler even mean here? Without specifics, they're just feelings. The language you use is what turns that gut feeling into a solid technical argument that holds up in a code review or a big project proposal.
So yeah, choosing the right tools is a huge deal. But what really separates the pros from the beginners is being able to explain the why behind your choice with just total, unshakable clarity.
Exactly, and that's where I jump in. You're always comparing something. Frameworks, cloud providers, performance metrics, you name it. Mastering the language of comparison is the bedrock of good technical communication. You get this right, and everything moves smoothly. You get it wrong, well, you're looking at some long, painful meetings.
Okay, let's start with the absolute basics. Picture this. You're comparing two services, and for one key metric, they're pretty much the same. How do you say that in a way that's totally precise? Easy. Your go-to phrase is as. It's clean, it's simple, and it leaves zero room for doubt. So you could say, the new API is as responsive as the old one. Right there, you've set a baseline. They're equal. Done. So what if they're not equal? It's just as simple. Just add not. For example, this test server is not as stable as the production server. See? You've immediately flagged a difference, even before getting into the nitty-gritty numbers. But let's be real, tech is rarely just black and white. And that's where modifiers are your best friend. Seeing the staging server is almost as fast as production is so much more helpful than just saying it's slower. It gives your team a real feel for how small that gap actually is.
Right. So we know how to say things are the same. But most of the time, we're talking about differences. One option is faster, another's cheaper, one's more secure. We need a way to talk about the size of that difference.
Okay, here's your toolkit. For two items, you use comparatives, like faster. For one item in a group of many, you use superlatives, like the fastest. Oh, and just memorize the weird ones, good, better, best. You'll use them all the time.
And this is how you add some punch. Look at this chart. Just saying the new server is faster, it just doesn't do it justice, does it? The difference is huge. You have to say it's much faster or far faster. That's what accurately tells the story.
Okay, quick tip, and this is a big one. Please, never say very faster. It's just wrong. You can say something is very fast, sure, but when you're comparing, you have to use much faster or far more reliable. It's a tiny change that makes you sound instantly more professional.
And on the flip side, for those small gaps, use words like slightly or a bit. Saying the new design is slightly clearer, manages expectations perfectly. It signals a nice little improvement, not some groundbreaking change. And if you want to say the opposite of more, well, you've got two fantastic options. You can say, this plan is less expensive than the other one. Or you could say, it's not as expensive as the other one. Honestly, both are perfect. Just pick whichever one rolls off the tongue. All right, let's level up. I've personally seen entire projects get stalled because of one single ambiguous sentence in a report. So let's talk about how you get total clarity and avoid those really expensive mistakes. So check this out. The client trusts me more than my teammate. Seems pretty simple, right? But what does it actually mean? Are we saying the client trusts you more than they trust your teammate? Or are we saying the client trusts you more than your teammate trusts you? See? That little bit of confusion is a landmine in a professional email. Here's fix number 1. Just add the word does at the end. The client trusts me more than my teammate does. Bam! Now it's crystal clear you're comparing two actions, the client's trust in you versus your teammate's trust in you. Ambiguity? Gone. And for that other meeting, you just spell it all the way out. The client trusts me more than the client trusts my teammate. Yeah, okay, it's a few more words, but it leaves absolutely zero doubt. And that kind of precision is what professional technical writing is all about. And of course, this isn't just about qualities, it's about quantities too. We use more with things you can count or measure, like RAM or bandwidth. A simple sentence like, this server has more RAM than the other one, is perfectly clear and direct. You're going to see this pattern everywhere, especially in status reports. When you need to talk about a trend over time, just repeat the comparative. The app is getting faster and faster.
Or, let's be honest, more often it's the code base is becoming more and more complex. Okay, and finally, this is my absolute favorite. It's the double comparative, and it's a real game changer for showing cause and effect. The more you test, the fewer bugs you release. How great is that? It's so concise, so powerful. You absolutely have to use this in your next presentation. Okay, whew, we've covered a ton, from the simple stuff all the way to some really advanced patterns. The way to think about this is like a toolkit. Our goal was to give you the right tool for any comparison you need to make, so your arguments are always sharp, professional, and persuasive.
So let's do a super fast recap. Use as when things are equal. Use modifiers like much or slightly to show just how big or small the difference is. Always finish your comparisons so there's no confusion. And start using those pro-level patterns like the more the better to really drive your point home.
All right, your turn. Knowing these rules is one thing, but mastering them is another. So here's your challenge. Pick 2 tools you know inside and out. Could be VS Code and PyCharm, or maybe AWS and Azure. Write 6 sentences comparing them using the patterns we just went over. It is by far the fastest way to make this stuff second nature. Go on, give it a shot.